Well, it is another beautiful day here on the property. Too bad I was at work today. I had to go back to work. My vacation is over. Wasn't much of a vacation, I will say, because I ended up baling hay and getting the solar power done on the house, getting the steers, getting the fish stocked in the pond. We did a lot of stuff on this week that we had off, and today I had to go back to my normal day job. But tonight, what I want to do is, when we baled the hay the other night, all of the round bales are still out there on the field. So I'd like to go pick those up and bring them back here. And I'd like to use this hay wagon to go do it. But when we baled these square bales of clover the other day, they seemed like they were a little bit wet. So I've spaced them out here on this wagon to get them to dry out a little bit better. So let's test them and see what the moisture content is. So on a square bale, you're shooting for, I think it's 18% moisture or less. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, 14.4% moisture. So it's definitely dry enough, 14.6. So that bale right there seems good. It's around 14.5%. So there's also a temperature feature on here, and you can test to see if the bale was heating up on you. It's only 82 degrees in there, so this bale seems fine. So I took some random samples throughout these bales, and they about all came out to 14.5% moisture. So definitely good enough to stack in the barn. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these off the wagon so that we can use it. And the ones that I have fed out, these are red clover bales, and this is probably the best looking red clover that I've ever baled. And I've fed it to the animals, and they just eat it up. Like I'll give them one or two bales, and it will be gone by the next day. The goats, the sheep, the cows, they all eat it up. So it's definitely something that the animals approve of, so that's good. I don't know if I showed you this the other day, but see all that wire in there? Every one of those is a bale that didn't tie properly. So that's how much trouble we had with the square baler the other day. So I'm just going to put a piece of cribbing at each end in an attempt to keep the round bales from rolling off. I decided to just go ahead and put the hay rack in the back of it. All right, before I get these bales loaded up, I'm gonna go ahead and test the moisture. We let the hay dry one additional day before we round baled it, trying to get this to dry. And the ones around the edge are the ones I'm really worried about. And because of all the shade from the trees, especially on the south side, it gets very shady. And I took those 3 round bales the other day and I put them all right next to each other. So these 3 bales right here should be the 3 that measure the wettest. So we'll test those first, see how they turn out. (14.5%), same as the square bale. 14.5. 14.5. I think this one is good. Now one of these was on the south side. I just don't remember which one. Very consistent. Now that one's actually got 15 in that one space. All right, last bale. I would assume one of these is going to be wetter than the others. But it doesn't appear to be the case. So if these 3 bales are dry, the rest of them were in the middle of the field, so they're about guaranteed to be dry. So I think we can load them up. I'm going to walk back and grab the TYM 2515. I'm going to put the hay spear on that, and then I'll try loading up all these bales with the 24 horsepower tractor, because the other tractor's still got the round baler hooked up. I still actually have a lot of hay equipment that I need to clean up and put away, so I'm a little bit behind, but at least everything's baled and the weather's still good, so I don't feel rushed. bales are supposed to be 4.5 feet in diameter. Not sure how much they weigh. Can I get her up there? May not be perfectly centered, but it's up there. Yeah, look at that. Well, I think I got that done just in time. It's kind of hard to tell because of the trees, but the sun is already down over the horizon, so it's starting to get dark. But we were able to get 8 round bales on the hay wagon. I think that's a pretty good load for this wagon. It's not a very long wagon. I think it's only 14 foot long. But I try to put the ones at the top, I try to put them in the middle as best as I could, just to help tie everything together. I'm probably most worried about leaving the hayfield and going down that little hill onto the top of the pond dam, because it's a pretty good little dip right there. And if any roll off, of course they're gonna roll forward and hit the truck, or they might just roll all the way into the pond. But that's the spot I think I'm most worried about. We'll just take it slow. We made it that far. I think we'll make it. It's the next day now. I just got home from work and ate supper, and I need to try to get these bales stored away. And I would like to store them inside, because that's what I did last year. But the problem is, I still got bales left over from last year. So let's go over to the barn and see what we can do here. So here in the white pole barn, we still have a total of 11 round bales left over from last year. And I really need to see if I can feed these out, see if I can get the cows to eat them. So I just picked up a new round bale feeder the other day, and it's one that I think I can get the cows and the sheep to both be able to eat out of. So let's go ahead and take that to the barnyard, see if we can feed them, or at least give them one of these older bales, see if they'll eat it. Well, I think we're about to get one of those pop-up summer showers. I've been hearing thunder for a little bit. I looked at the radar and there's actually like a thunderstorm just to the east of us. And I don't know if it's heading this direction, which is kind of backwards than normal. But I've got the tractor hitched up to the wagon. I'm gonna try to pull it over there and get it in the barn so that this doesn't get rained on. I'd like to try to keep the quality of the hay as good as possible if I can. Well, I'll admit that was a little bit of a workout trying to get that to push that in here. The tires are flat on the front. Both of them are flat, or halfway flat. I mean, you can tell. Just look at that. It's definitely flat. So that really made it hard to steer and to maneuver, but we got it in here out of the rain. So I've said it before in a previous video, but we are overstocked with all the animals we have. We actually have more hayfield acreage than we have pasture acreage, or at least pastures that are fenced in. So we are going to start supplementing with hay, and I still need to get a hay feeder for the steers out here, and I'm planning on getting that tomorrow morning, and it's going to be a different style feeder. Ooh, try not to hit any fresh cow patties. I don't want to dent it up any more than it is. It already comes a little beat up from the farm store. There's one bale. Well, I think this video pretty much covers what I do of an evening. When you work a full-time job, you get home from work and you come home and you do more work. So there's always something to do. You got to feed the animals, you got to feed hay, you got to water the garden. I mean, there's always stuff to do when you get home, when you do the type of stuff that we do and work a full-time job. So even when you come home and you're tired, you still got to get out and you got to feed the animals and do all the chores like you normally would. So this is just pretty much typical evening for me. These last few evenings, I mean, I get home from work, I eat a little bit of supper, and then I head back outside and try to take care of as much of the stuff I can before it gets dark. But at least now we are set up to be able to start feeding round bales properly. Before, I just did what was like over there. I just set them down on the concrete over there and I just let them kind of tear through it. A lot of it was wasted. So hopefully we can feed these round bales. We won't waste as much hay. And yeah, we're slowly trying to get everything set up for steers and for cows, having them full time. So we got a lot of other things to do too coming up, trying to get more infrastructure in place for raising cows. So I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.